Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the wake up call with myself and Alex. What is up? What is up? How's everyone feeling out of 10?
Out of 10, I'll say the same thing I said last week since nobody could hear me well. I am a 10 out every day. Every day that I'm breathing, I'm a 10 out of 10. And shame on you, Yaboyski, for being anything less than a 10.
If you woke up on this side of the dirt, how do you have a bad day? That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah,
to wrap it
absolutely,
up.
man.
All right. So what is the I'll let you kick it off. You got to share your screen.
Oh,
Uh,
hey, how about I share my screen?
what is your thoughts with the war, the market? Where are we at? We haven't talked for a little while.
Yeah, the war. I don't care about the war. I don't care about the war in regards to just if we're talking about the bottom line for our bags. I mean, like you guys sucked me in 2022 with Russia and the Ukraine, and here we are 3 years later, and the price has gone up. And so we got through that scary moment on Sunday, and can we stop being spooked by everything that goes on in the world? There will be a time, sure, when that'll be the case, maybe, but that time is not now. So our attitude determines our altitude. Okay.
Ooh, love it. Be
um,
the thermostat, not the thermo or what is it? I messed that up. Dang it.
yes, the thermostat, not the thermometer. That's 100%, man. I'll let you, Devin. I'll let you talk about the ABC correction since I saw it on your chart before I shared mine. But I want to share. I want to share some thoughts about just my general attitude for the rest of this year. So if we can get, well, I know you're working on it. So
I got it up here. So, got to give props to you on the
yeah,
ABC correction. You definitely were the first one to put this into play. I basically have two cases, and I'm leaning more heavily towards base case number one. So, the two cases that I have are for Bitcoin, and I'm going to pull them up side by side so we can kind of see. This was an ABC correction back in, this was from August of 23 through November of 2024. And then there's even one within that as well. So we'll pull that up too over here. So on the, and it would be right here. So on the left is right now, and I have the fractal from on the right. And this has the same accumulation. This was also the war in Israel in 2023. Coincidentally enough, that was the bottoming structure right here, and then you put in a big bull flag, as you can see, like the same accumulation schematic, even the same, like you can see, sort of the same little points here. These are all basically the same, and you had an ABC correction, which would the target for that was about 97K. I don't remember if I explicitly put that out there. 97K. You were more. I think you had the 97K. I don't remember exactly what your target was, but
I
you
was
were the
just
one.
thinking under $100,000. I might have had a specific, like the 200-day moving average at 96 or something like that, maybe.
Yeah. So to me, like we pretty much got there. I think we got the 97.8 or something like that. Um, and the fact that it happened on a Sunday, the fact that literal bombs were flaring, literally bombs were going off. Um, to me, we quickly get to a point of, either two things are true. One of two things are true, and that's it. Either A, the bottom is actually in, because if literal bombs going off on the weekend when nothing else was open cannot make it go lower than this point, what
Yeah,
what causes it to go lower at this point?
yeah,
Uh literally. Like, so to me it's like either A, the bottom is in again, or B, it doesn't matter anyways, because the only escalation from here is we're not worried about the price of Bitcoin, because it's like actual literal World War III. And in that case, like it doesn't matter about the price of Bitcoin anyways. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm with you on that. I mean, could we go lower? Sure, we could. I just don't know what that looks like because the timing of that dump on Sunday, in particular, at least in the United States, Sunday morning. I can't think of a more low liquidity, more low volume time to where the price could be jacked down as much as it was. Uh,
Yeah.
so I lean in the direction that yeah, we could we go lower? I mean, if so, it won't be much lower, but that was the bottom. I'm not sitting here declaring that was the bottom and now we're up only, but whatever the case, I mean, we're not going. If we were to go lower, we wouldn't be going much lower than that.
Yeah, I think that the worst of it is behind us. Like even on this, my secondary case would be sort of how the Japan ABC correction. This would be an ABC correction. To me, like this is our worst case, and this puts you just kind of waddling for 45 days. Um,
Yeah,
but to me, like the where we're at with this, it's I mean, it's almost perfect how it's like lining up with the fractal from this was from the war in Israel to the spot Bitcoin ETF. That's when this yellow fractal is. And I have a new beard bet. The beard bet is 92K will not be reached before a new all time high, or I will shave my beard because 92K, from my perspective, is this season's 40K, this season's 16K, this
yeah,
season's 72K,
yeah.
when everyone starts calling for a certain price. But I'll switch your
Okay.
to you here.
Um, I just wanted to share my perspective. I know I did make a video about this a couple weeks ago, but I mean, this is a working thesis going back to 2012. Sorry, going back to 2022 that I would say has been invalidated. And starting in 2022, I kind of laid out a roadmap for what I thought the next few years was going to be, and I came to this conclusion that I thought the end of 2025 was not going to be bullish. And what I thought was going to happen was what happened at the beginning of this year, where the stock market dumped really hard. And what I expected to happen after that was just a series of rejections at the 200-day moving average. This is the Nasdaq that I have on my screen, by the way. The best case scenario would be a rejection at the 200-day, maybe a rejection at the 786 retrace here, and then putting in a series of lower highs and lower lows for the rest of the year. And the Nasdaq yesterday put in a new all-time high. The S&P 500 put in a new all-time high. This is officially a V. I mean, it was already a V-shaped recovery, but if there was any doubt, it's a V-shaped recovery. So what does that have to do with crypto? I have a hard time believing that Bitcoin, at least, or the total crypto market cap, is going to deviate from the Nasdaq. And so what's next from the Nasdaq and the S&P? I wouldn't be surprised if over the next year there was like somewhere between a 30 to 40% rise in the Nasdaq and the S&P. So I would expect Bitcoin to also continue to rise. And were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, by the way, um, funny enough, like they're not going to call it. You're calling it a V shape already, which is good.
Yeah.
But they're not going to. It's not going to be popular mainstream that this was a V shape recovery until we hit price discovery. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
That's ridiculous. I mean, it's a V.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, we think back to C19 crash. It was the same thing. Like they didn't call it a V-shaped recovery until it was already retail was already FOMOing in, which is
Yeah.
already price discovery. And I remember us saying something about the April 7th tariffs, and we were comparing it to the C19, whether it
Yeah.
was I think it was the VIX or it was the RSI. I don't remember what it was exactly off top of my head, but there was something where it was like the lowest or the most volatile since the April C19 crash.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those comparisons. So, I mean, all right, S&P 500, same deal, new all-time high. Now, I will say I'm still of this mindset that I just don't see this lining up in such a way that the end of 2025 is a blow off top. In my opinion, I think it's very likely that that Bitcoin runs into 2026, that it doesn't peak in November or December of 2025. We'll see. I mean, let's just take this day by day, one step at a time. But like my thesis has been invalidated. I just want to be clear about that, and I'm happy about that. Big thing that I want to pay attention to, because I know a lot of you are going to ask about your altcoins, and I know I'm talking about stocks. Going to be comparing stocks to crypto. Russell 2000. Would love to see this break out above this 786 retrace. So this is the IWM ticker. It's the Russell 2000 ETF, but IWM at 227 is kind of where I have my eyes on. To where if it breaks through that, it's at 216 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if altcoins did very well after that. That's a sign of just broader risk on activity in the market. So right now, I mean, it's still Bitcoin still has the floor, and maybe after these, we'll see. I don't know, if Devin, if you've seen this chart comparing Coinbase, the coin stock, to the altcoin market cap. The correlation is very heavy.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It,
Coinbase
that,
has recently exploded.
that makes like very practical sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, the thing that holds all the assets, because it's not your keys, not your crypto. So where do most people buy their altcoins? It's on Coinbase. So who actually
Yeah.
has it? So that makes a lot of practical sense to me. Like I don't even need to be. I think it's a very interesting chart, but to me, it's like, yeah, that checks out practically. How crazy is it, by the way? Like literally the closest thing that we've had to actual literal World War III, and the Nasdaq puts it at an all-time high. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
how crazy is that?
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh man, that is like my mind is blown by that, because to me, like this was about as close as like where I've had, not like fear is not the right word, but concern of like, okay, this might be something here. Uh and the Nasdaq's at an all-time high, and we know, or maybe some of you guys don't know this, but uh, I think a closer correlation from Bitcoin going into price discovery is not the 4-year cycle. To me, the 4-year cycle is something, but not everything
Yeah.
like people make it. But it's closer married to the Nasdaq making an all-time high. What we see is Bitcoin typically goes into price discovery within 45 days of the Nasdaq doing the same, or
Yep.
going into an all-time high. And so the Nasdaq just put in an all-time high. That's going to be a really, really good thing. I'm like so not buying, by the way, this idea that institutions are not uh, they're not buying altcoins. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I don't think, I think it's overblown. This idea that because they're buying Bitcoin, but they're not buying altcoins, that we're not going to see, like, at when the stars align, at least, like a significant move in altcoins. Um, I just, the thing that's always been factored in my mind is like, once long-term holders get so much in profit on Bitcoin that they just have to sell,
Yeah.
that they're going to gamble and they're going to throw some money at altcoins.
Nothing,
Go ahead.
nothing quite like price changes sentiment.
Yeah. So I mean, like, people are always asking about altcoins, when's alt season? Maybe the catalyst is just, I mean, people have brought up the Ethereum ETFs, the staking being incorporated in ETH ETFs. Maybe that's it. Or maybe the catalyst is like, instead of Bitcoin taking the stairs up, like which is what it's been doing since 2022, it just makes this run to some sort of a parabola, and then after that we see a lot of that roll over to altcoins.
Well, and I like to think about it like this too. If we're going to compare, so let me pull up my chart real quick. If we're going to compare, uh, you know, structurally, where are we in the sentiment, right? Like, where are we on the quote, like the 4-year? right?
Yeah.
And what I want to think about is, so what I have shown right here is from 2017. This is a Fibonacci down to the 2019 bear market, up into the 2021 bull market. And what we see is Bitcoin like clearly nailed the 3618 almost on the head, right?
Yeah.
And you had a good distribution at the 3618. But just thinking about this as far as sentiment, and you could correct me if I'm wrong because you were here as well. But um, from here, I mean, this was euphoric for sure, but from the bear market to the retracement, it wasn't until retail started getting really hype about crypto until basically we got, I would say, past the 1618, but really more
Yeah.
towards the 2618. And that's
Yeah.
when euphoria started to really kick in. That's when the altcoins started to go really crazy as well. Um,
That's absolutely right. I remember Bitcoin at $30,000 after having broke through its previous all-time high of 20, and nobody cared.
right. And so that's the 1618. And
Yeah.
what you could say was 30K was the 1618, right? Yes, that's correct. Okay. And what you could say too, if you pull a Fibonacci from here, from the 2021 to where we're at right now, we're kind of at the 1618. And
Yeah.
so, like what you had just mentioned, the no longer being in a staircase up sort of structure, but being in a, just vertical structure. I think that, I mean, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, and I don't want to be like FOMOing people, but I really think that the next leg, um, that's what we start to enter into, and I call it like the beginning of the end, if you will, for Bitcoin, because I really only think that Bitcoin does 50% from here, maybe 100% from here, but that's not why we're in crypto. But that last 50%, that last 100%, I really think is going to be crazy. And I think it's really important that, everyone has a plan in place when things are boring, when things are scary, when things are fearful, because even me, and I think that one of my biggest strengths is my emotional intelligence and navigating it when it comes to money. I can be swayed by my emotions when it comes to the
Yeah.
euphoria and the fear and the greed and all that. And so I think having a plan in place now, rather than trying to navigate a plan when it's already euphoria, I think is an impossible task to do, even for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So it says good morning. Yeah. So and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, but I so the Nasdaq just hit an all-time high. Bitcoin basically is at the 1618. Their spot ETFs are pending approval. So your base case is into 2026. Is that correct?
Um, I For now, yes. I mean, like, anything can happen, right? It's like, sure, but I there's lots of things that I would point to that just, what if we just continue to take the stairs higher with Bitcoin, for the rest of this year until whatever.
Mhm.
It's in my mind as a possibility.
I w- I forgot to mention this too, but so we've talked about this a little bit with the Trump meme coins, right? And I've sort of put
Yeah.
it out there that basically when we were to look at where we were at in the cycle, I think that let me get a cleaner chart here. This is an ugly chart. Um, but basically, I think that we were too far ahead. Meaning, like Bitcoin was not ready to go into euphoria when it did. Um, and also at the same time as that, the altcoins, definitely Solana, was not ready either. So I think that when things got euphoric in November, December timeframe, um, I think that the market was not ready for it. And
Hmm.
basically, the Trump meme coins front loaded that. And it is a net neutral, in my opinion, because it caused us to sort of prematurely blow off top, if you will. Um, but also, what it did in it that is positive is it ridded a lot of nonsense. And basically, what I think happened was it just basically set us back a solid 6 months.
Hmm.
And we rid a lot of nonsense from the altcoin market, like $70 billion or whatever it was of liquidity was stolen. That took some time, and there was like, countries were launching their own meme coins. Like all that nonsense doesn't exist in the space right now, and I would say that we're in a healthier spot. Um, but I think it put us back a solid 6 months. And if you were to compare, like me and you are calling this a V bottom, which I think is very fair, and the
Yeah.
tariffs, and it's very similar to the C19 correction. Well, I think that's pretty much where we're at uh, in this cycle. What like this to me, like this is where we're at, and we're basically at the getting into the price discovery. We're basically at 30K after we had the C19 correction.
Yeah.
Right in here. This was basically the April tariffs right here. And then we're kind of in here, like flirting with an all-time high again.
So, all right. I mean, if you're gonna make that comparison, I'm just thinking through that timeline of like COVID-19 happened in March of 2020, the COVID crash, the bottom of this tariff fear stuff happened in April. So a month later, if we're gonna follow that same timeline, like the peak of euphoria was in April, May of 2021. Maybe it would be in March and April of 2026, something like that. Where like, we climbed throughout the remainder of the year. Bitcoin started going up aggressively and like started its ascent in October of 2020. Yeah, 2020. And then like every day from October to January, it just kept on going up and up pretty much. But then like, that big time of excitement was 2021.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. The important thing is to not get caught up in your emotions, have a plan, have an exit strategy when things are boring, not when things are euphoric,
Yeah.
because, making an exit strategy when things are euphoric, I think is the wrong answer. And I don't think I could navigate it effectively. And I've been in this space for 10 years. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Very good point about the Trump meme coin launch. There was like a window there where like where it was just I don't know what to call it, but the Trump meme coin launch was day one, and then the Argentina coin was the last day, whatever that day was. Because I remember there being a great deal of disgust after that Libra coin rug pull. Because and I was pretty disgusted too, because it just felt like, okay, you know what? Whenever these coins launch, I have to put thousands of dollars into it and hope that I'm early enough to see massive gains. And I was changing my trading strategy and my investing strategy and to one that I felt very uncomfortable with.
Yeah. Same here. I think, pretending like, no one got caught up in the euphoria, I think is silly. I definitely did as well. And part of too, like I would say a big flaw that I would had in hindsight too, uh in December, like I did take profit, and anytime I saw a vertical chart,
Yeah.
like um I'm trying to think of some XYO or a pen link or land wolf or whatever it was. If I saw a vertical chart that I was asked about, I put it out there. But a lot of the reason too why I was so into like January and February, um I think a lot of what, in hindsight, about the market, the total market, where I was more bullish than I should have been in February. I think a lot of it was from Solnick, honestly, where like
Mm,
Solnick was performing really well during that time.
yeah.
So I didn't really feel the pullbacks as much as maybe everyone else did. So maybe that was a hindsight mistake that I made
Sure.
in February when I was more bullish than I should have been. That was the one time I was wrong footed pretty hard.
Yeah. So what do we got here? I'm just looking at
Uh, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin dominance? Could you look at Bitcoin dominance, Alex? Well, I'd like to get your take on this as well.
yeah. If you pull up my screen, let me get Bitcoin dominance on here. So it's put in a new high. Let me go to the weekly chart and zoom out a lot. Okay. So I made a video talking about this. Up top we have, the red box is, what is this? Red box is quantitative tightening, blue box is quantitative easing. And you can see kind of a trend with Bitcoin dominance going up during periods of quantitative tightening. And this has been a long period since 2022. It's been a very long time where we are officially in quantitative tightening. I know that there's soft easing going on right now, but like by definition, we are still in that phase. And it's not much. I mean, the Fed is unwinding their balance sheet to the tune of $5 billion a month, down from $60 billion a month 14 months ago. So what I have my eyes on right now is just kind of the in between periods, because you can see when quantitative tightening ended in July of 2019, Bitcoin dominance was pretty flat and even started trending downward. And so could it be that at the July Fed meeting, they're like, all right, we are done with quantitative tightening? And that does not mean now we're starting quantitative easing. Absolutely not. Or could it be in September that they're done? Here's my hope. This is kind of what I'd hope for after that, would be that Bitcoin dominance would be flat. And it, like, all right, if Bitcoin dominance is flat and Bitcoin goes up aggressively, then altcoins are also going to go up aggressively. So that's kind of where I'm putting my eggs right now, is just like with this mindset of, or even, it could go down a little bit. Whatever the case, I think the uptrend, this is just my mindset, the uptrend would stop when quantitative tightening ends, or around the time quantitative tightening ends.
Which could
So
be any month now,
yeah,
to be honest. As, someone said, with all due respect, you've been bullish for a long time. You're correct. I've been bullish since November of 2022. You're
yeah.
correct. That is when I flipped the switch fully to being a full-on bull. I was full-on bearish in 2021, and I flipped the switch to being full-on bullish in November of 2022. And there's been moments when I've been bearish since then. There's been coins that have been bearish since then, but generally, I am very patient, and I have been bullish since November of 2022. It's correct.
How dare you be bullish?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and I was super bullish in April, and I bet my beard many times that the bottom was in, and my beard just keeps growing. It's all the way down to my heart at this point. So yeah, I've been bullish since November of 2022. You're correct. I was bearish in 2021. I publicly sold all of my crypto in 2021 around 50K. And I was bearish that entire time until we flipped into November. I started dipping my toes with the Luna collapse. I had a good feeling that that was the selling climax. I started accumulating a little bit. I was well aware of the lunar eclipse in November. I had no idea what the event was going to be, but video evidence 6 months in advance, I had the November 8th lunar eclipse as a calendar marked event on my calendar, where I said something is going to happen here. And that was the climax of the Shemitah, the 7th year cycle. And from that moment, I have been bullish since then. So there you go. The Shemitah.
The what?
The Shemitah, that's the 7th year.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So typically it's the Q3, Q4 lunar eclipses. That's when you typically see the climax of that.
Yeah, man.
So that's why I didn't know that it was going to be FTX. In fact, I was like, if I remember correctly, I was like praising Sam Bankman-Fried in the bear market because he was buying all these companies that were
Yeah.
going under. And he was like lending a hand. He was lending a life raft to them, and then it turned out that he was the one that was the most.
And I mean, he was the first one I ever heard talk about the Luna collapse like that. Their UST, the way that they had that set up was insanity. And so I kind of like started paying attention to him after that. I never really gave him much credence or anything before then, but just a nerdy guy who got in early.
Yeah, yeah, and he was like, I remember like, so for most of the altcoins, like a huge percentage of the altcoins, they never went lower than June. So June of
Yeah.
2022, that was the bottom for Ethereum, that was the bottom
Yep.
for Quant, that was the bottom for Matic. That was there was a lot of coins that they never went lower from June of 2022, where Bitcoin took it out and it went
Yeah.
even lower. And I remember there was a period from the Luna collapse where Sam Bankman-Fried, he was buying up all of these projects or giving them loans for all these projects that went under during that time. And I remember like that was definitely something fundamentally that I had wrong, where I was like, oh yeah, look at this guy, he's gonna own everything, and then he was the one that got sacrificed.
I I made a video. I made this bear market series, like would I buy such and such crypto in the bear market? And so FTT came up, and I was like, my intro to that video is hilarious in hindsight. My conclusion was no, I would not buy their crypto, but I started the video saying like this thing's a beast. They just keep on growing. The writing's on the wall. It's going to be a behemoth, and then it went to zero a few months later. So
Yeah, same here. I remember thinking I was getting like a false sense of confidence or security because he was buying all
yeah,
these like, I don't remember, there was a couple like BlockFi, or I don't even remember what the
Voyager,
yeah,
Celsius.
Voyager, Celsius, and there was another one, BlockFi.
Yep.
They
I
all went to zero, and he was like giving them loans and stuff. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, he's gonna own it all by the time.
I had some funds in BlockFi. It took a while to get those back. I don't even know if I got everything back.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple people are bringing up the blockchain backer. So Mandy says blockchain backer says you're not bullish enough. K Swiss says blockchain backers recent threat on X we going up. It's in my mind. You guys know I'm a big blockchain backer supporter. And when he gets like mega bullish, it's something that I do not take lightly. So
Yeah.
cool, you know.
Same for me. Like, I have a lot of respect for a blockchain backer. There's not that many. Listen, I'm not trying to be like whatever, but there's a very low percentage of TA people that when they say something, I listen.
Yeah.
Uh and I would like hold it with high regard. Blockchain backer is definitely one of them.
Yep.
So I have a lot of respect for his TA. I think he is how I am like a master at Wyckoff. I think he is a master at Elliott waves, and he is very good, and he's very keen to. He's a bottom feeling expert as well. So, uh,
what what was the thing I said a few weeks ago that you
I'm the
you
master bottom feeler.
or you nail bottoms or something? I don't know. I don't want to get banned.
Send him straight to the shadow realm. Uh, you listen to Real World TA? No, I don't.
I listen to what everyone else says about Jam. Um, but I don't really listen to I read his tweets.
Yeah, there's about 2-3 creators who I'm like, I really pay. If they say something, or if they say something different than me, it makes me reevaluate things, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of 5 creators that were publicly bullish in 2022.
And
That's
he
it.
was not one of those 5.
Yep, and that doesn't mean that the five are always right, and it doesn't mean that the anyone who else can't learn and grow.
Yeah.
But there are five creators that I'm aware of: Alex, myself, blockchain backer, Waters Above, and Calvin. That's the end of the list.
Calvin, I'm kind of surprised you have him on that list. Oh wait, he was bullish at the bottom. That's what you're
Yep.
saying.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
No, yeah, I'm not saying like TA. I'm just saying like these are the careers I'm aware of that were publicly bullish in
Yeah.
2022.
All right.
Again, yeah, obviously it doesn't mean that they're always right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
uh, may not hit the bottom, but
Yeah, don't finish that.
whoopsies. He almost Ron Burgundy.
um something else I want to point out, like, I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing with Ethereum, the same things that we've been seeing with Bitcoin. Like that's a new thing. All right. I've talked about this a lot. Like there's stuff like watch my video that I'm publishing tomorrow on my YouTube channel. For those of you watching this live stream, I usually start my videos out talking about Bitcoin, but the video for tomorrow I started talking about Ethereum. Uh, there's just the amount of stacking of Ethereum that's going on right now it's very encouraging. Like I don't remember the exact numbers that I presented in that video, but it's much more than the amount of ETH being minted per day. So you gotta ride whatever. I know it sucks for altcoins still, but you just gotta ride it out, man.
Yeah, to me, Ethereum too. Not Ethereum is the key to the
Yeah.
puzzle. So you have like the Nasdaq is the kind of the key to the Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the key to the altcoin or to Ethereum, and Ethereum is the key to everything else. And there's kind of this like domino puzzle being solved. And Ethereum getting to 3,300 to me is what is going to really kick things off. And you guys know, like I am the biggest Ethereum hater known to man, but I'm not so foolish to think that it's not the second biggest altcoin, that institutions aren't buying it. Um, and to me, we have a setup here for a bear trap, because
Yeah.
we have this big bull flag, and a lot of traders, what they'll do is they put these lines in the sand and say, if we go below this line, then we're cooked. And what do market makers do? They go below the line. That way they can extrapolate as much liquidity as possible from both sides, making it as painful as possible. And so we can confirm this as a bear trap once we get to about somebody was calling me. Once we get to about $2,600, that would confirm this as a bear trap and get back in this range. And I think that we're going to do that in the next week or so. But that's going to be the key level to me, getting back to about 2,600.
Yeah. I wouldn't. There may be a time. I mean, just seeing why are it's like it's smart money, it's whales, it's institutions loading up very heavily on Ethereum, that I wouldn't be surprised if there was a time when people were just like, oh man, Ethereum's the future. It's and we'll continue to say no, it's AOL.
Yeah.
But the level of excitement that we saw for XRP in November and December, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden there was a similar level of excitement for Ethereum, no matter where the price goes.
Um, Earn, learn, and grow gave me an opportunity to brag on myself, so I'm going to take that.
Okay.
I appreciate it. He says, seriously, can you explain what moves you got right? Any local tops you've called? All right. What moves have I gotten right, Alex?
You got 9 out of 10 of the bottoms because you're a master bottom toucher.
All right. So, video evidence, April 7th, 2025. Thank you for the opportunity to brag upon myself, because if I just brag upon myself, I look like arrogant. But if you give me the opportunity to slam dunk a alley oop, I will take that. So, I appreciate you. April 7th, 2025. I said that the bottom is in. I will bet my beard. If we go lower, I will shave my beard. I said, will not go to 70K before a new all time high, or I will shave my beard. You see this beard? This isn't like a week long, a month long. This is a year. Okay. Uh, Japan, August 5th, 2025. I said that the bottom was in. This is September, actually. No, right here. Yeah.
August.
Yeah. August 5th. That's right. August 5th, 2025. We said that the bottom was in. We will not go lower. I will shave my beard if we go lower. Also, Germany and Mount Gox, I called that as a local bottom. The Bitcoin ETF, I said was a local top. I actually sold. I sold a decent bit of my Bitcoin, and this was the one thing where I did not get correct. Was I had a target from going from 48K back at 25K. I said we were going to go to 48K and then we were going to go back to 35K. Whoopsies, I'm a Sagittarius. We only went to 48K and then 38K instead of 35K. So there you go. That's the one thing that I got wrong. The war in Israel, I put out a video. I said that this is a local bottom. Write down what it feels like. Here's XYZ, made many videos that saying that this is a local bottom, saying we will not go lower. Silicon Valley Bank, 9/11. So this was 9/11, 2023, the worst 9/11 that America's ever had. Not that's a joke. March 10th, I said that this was a local bottom, and then we talked about the FTX collapse months and months in advance. Before that, XRP, I sold 40% of my XRP at $3.33 and screamed from the mountaintops to do the same. I bought a farm with cash, with my XRP profits, screaming from the mountaintops to take profit right in here. $3.33. What did we get to? $3.42. I missed the top. Sorry about you. Landwolf, XYO, Zbeck. What else? LCX. I've called multiple bottoms on LCX and multiple tops, saying, for the love of God, if you were my brother, I would take profit. What was the other one? ALC. What was the one that went just Penlink? Penlink, just straight vertical. Penlink was just a straight vertical, straight line up. I said, for the love of God, take profit. If you were my brother, I would tell you to take profit. If you were my blood brother, because this is the chart we saw. Everyone's like, Ski's a hater. Ski doesn't. This is literally the chart that I was like, for the love of God, please take profit. If you were my blood brother, I would tell you to take profit. So yeah, I mean, that's just some off the top of my head. So I don't know. Let me know of another creator who's called as many bottoms as me. I would like to trade their stuff and not do as much work. You let me know.
When Ski calls bottom, I was trying to think of a joke about touching bottoms, but you ape into that bottom. Yeah, I was going to say something. I forgot that wasn't it. Let me read a few comments from this guy UPS on TikTok here about Ethereum. ETH massively undervalued. BlackRock keeps buying solely, and retail sells right to them. It's crazy because they're buying just the right amounts as to not skyrocket the price. Their buys are always odd amounts of money. It's like they know the futures inside and out. Interesting comments there. So,
right. Well, that just goes. That's how that's my base case of the market is rigged. And it's ran by the apex predators. And what are they doing? They're buying you shared a chart about the over-the-counter supply is basically at an all-time low. And so what's going to happen when, we run out of that over-the-counter supply?
Yeah. And then there was a comment from somebody, Leroy Essel. Cryptos are us reports exchanges are running very low on Bitcoin from massive supply shock could be brewing. Just FYI, anytime somebody uses extremist language to talk about the amount of supply on exchanges, just know that that's like one of their 10 go-to things to get you really excited. Now, because I mean, yes, supply balances are going down, and yes, there is going to be a day when it's going to be a lot more difficult to buy as much Bitcoin as your heart desires. Today is not that day, but we'll get there. It's just going to take time. It's going to take more time than what somebody like Cryptos R Us is going to say. So,
yeah. He says, did you call the March and December 2024 tops? Brother, I've called out of the last 4 years, 8 of the last 9 bottoms on the day. I don't know of a better track record than that. But yes, I don't know if you know this or not, but XRP, Penlink, Landwolf, XCN, XYO, all these were vertical in December. And I said to take profit on them.
I remember what I was going to say. You know, there's this guy. He trades. He makes very little content. His name's Louis Raskin. I remember one time somebody tweeted a troll tweet, NGMI. You know, you're not going to make it. And then he responded and he said, I already made it. And I thought that was hilarious because like. There's nothing you can say to somebody like him who he's a trader, he's an experienced trader, he's done very well for himself, and whatever people are going to say to troll you, like there's one thing that they can't say to you. They can't say you're not going to make it. You had a game plan with your XRP and you sold 40% of it when you said you were going to sell it, and you bought a farm with it. You bought how many acres? 25 acres or something?
27.
20. Oh, sorry, 27.
Which directly after this live stream, I'm going to bush hog that. So
Yeah,
driving around on my tractor.
You're not going to make it, man.
I'm not going to make it. Yeah. 2015, I was homeless, negative dollars, nothing. But we're not going to make it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm not going to make it, but like, man, yeah, tuition, all the expenses of having as many kids as I have, they definitely suppressed how much I'm going to make it from a dollar and cents perspective. But
oh man, I remember one time someone told me, I think might have been like 2013, or I might have been a teenager, or I might have been a young adult. I don't remember. I was either a young adult or a teenager, one or the other. And someone told me they were like, and minimum wage at the time still like $7. And I thought, making $15 an hour was a lot of money back then or something.
Oh yeah.
Like that, and someone told me back then they were like, if you're going to raise a family, you need $80,000 a year minimum. And I thought that was the craziest thing that I've ever heard. I was like, are you out of your mind? $80,000? You're like so rich. And then until you actually make it, and then it's like, and you do have a family, and then you realize how much everything costs. It's like, oh no, that is the bare minimum. they were telling the truth.
We are my family's very thrifty, and $80,000 we're scraping by if I only make $80,000. I mean, like 30,000 of that's going to tuition at school. So it's like there's 40% of that taken off the top. So
oh my God, it's Ski. These two are usually correct. Listen, I get things wrong, but I publicly admit when I get things wrong.
Yeah.
I don't bat 1,000, but the point is not to bat 1,000, and not even to have. Listen, I know I'm known for predictions, but I don't want to be known for predictions. I want to be known for outlining rational, logical scenarios and taking action based off of those scenarios.
Yeah, it's like what do we do? And do you listen to us when we do the things that we do? So like, the big thing for me is like, all right, I did all right in December with my calls. I was like, I'm 40% out. I don't like what the charts look like. If this wasn't crypto, I would be bearish right now. But typically what happens in 2025 is it's a bullish year. But I did not call the peak in March of 2024. I thought we still had some time to go higher. And so, but at the same time, I am on record saying that I was going to start selling my crypto when Bitcoin got to $53,000. And then I sold before, during, and after that peak. And that's just like, okay, I was a bull on the day of the peak. Yeah, I mean, that's just generally what's going to happen. Right. Because there's no signs on the day of the peak that
you were hated.
The peak.
You were hated for saying that you were selling.
I was hated both times, especially in December. Like there was no concept that we were going to go lower. There's no even thought process in people's minds that we were going to go lower from December. Because we were being drowned. Like, I mean, Were you bullish in December? I'm sure you were, but again, how much how much of your XRP did you sell? It's the same deal.
Yeah,
Like,
I was bullish. That's right. I was bullish, and but every time I would be asked about a chart like XRP, like
yeah.
Penlink, like Landwolf, like XYO, that was just straight vertical, I would say the same thing. Like, if you were my brother, I would say take profit. That's what I
Yeah.
said. I said that if I said that once, I said it 100 times. But yes,
So,
go ahead.
um, was like May was a top of sorts, and my mentality has been, all right, I had a bunch of meme coins and a bunch of OG cryptos. I have held on to my OGs and I sold my meme coins. Aside from my bag of He, Solnick, and Fat Cat, I did not sell any of that. But the OGs I'm holding, and I'm perfectly fine holding that. And we'll see whether, like, what time will do. But I'm not worried about the fact that I'm down from May. I'm still up from when I bought them in April. Uh, Now my worst time personally for me was between April 2nd, and April 7th. And after that, there was one time where like if I could take out any word that I had said, and we're gonna have seasons like that.
Yeah, we're not going to get everything right, and nor do I sit here and advocate that that's what I'm going to do. But the point is, to have a track record of being in the right flavor more than we're not. And I think Alex and I are very good at that, second to none. And I think that we're different too, which makes the duo. My God, stop calling me. Makes the duo even better because Alex, I think, is more inclined to uh, be better at spotting distribution, and I think I'm more inclined to be a little bit keen to
Nailing bottoms. That was
nailing
what I said.
bottoms. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so, and I think that's I would say you're more, you definitely like no slouch in the TA department for sure, but you have your way of doing TA, and then you're super keen to reading fundamentals, and I keen to the Wyckoff. So I think it makes a good balance, and I think it makes a
yeah.
great show.
Are
So,
you got to go? Or you got to go bush hog your farm or what?
oh no, I was just like
Okay.
we weren't showing the
Yeah,
chart.
yeah. All right.
We weren't showing the chart, so I was just like, I'll just uh, I'll just show our face unless we start showing the charts. I
All
was
right.
just trying to be a good producer,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, that's so listen, and my whole thing too is listen, this is I said this 1,000 times. I don't want to be anybody's savior. That's not
Mm,
what I'm here to do. I'm not here. The savior already came, and it's not me. And if you look at me as the standard, as my Pentecostal pastor once told me, he said, if you look at me as the standard, you can go to hell. And he meant that literally. So I'm not the standard. I'm not the savior, and I'm not here to save anybody. I'm here to teach you how to fish, not fish for you. So that's my goal.
yes.
I don't want you to rely on me. I want you to come up with your own thesis and fish for yourself and feast with me.
I mean that's a really important thing. It's like I'll give an entry for a crypto. This past Sunday, I gave, well, no, a couple weeks ago, I gave entries for a list of 10 cryptos. A lot of those filled. A lot of every one of them is up from my entries that they hit on Sunday during that dump. But then let's say you listen to me and you set limit orders at those exact levels. What you do now is on you. And it may be that some of those cryptos will go lower than those entries eventually. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was like, man, I listened to you, I bought at this level, I held the entire time, I became a bag holder. And that kind of stuff happens all the time, to where like I've already exited a lot of those entries because I'm here for just gains. I'm here to make some gains short term.
Whether it's
Um,
Fartcoin or Bitcoin.
Exactly. Well, Fartcoin was one of those. Fartcoin filled to the penny. My Fartcoin limit order filled. Do you think I'm still holding on to my Fartcoin? No. I just have no desire to be a bag holder of fart coin. Any other coin, I'm okay being a bag holder, not fart coin. I deserve nothing from my fart coin bags.
It's all a blessing and a gift. 10 out of 10, baby. Oh man. Yeah, listen, that's what I want you to take from me. Two things. Number one, rely on yourself, listen to all, but trust yourself.
Yeah.
And then number two would be institutions are running the show, not retail. Yeah, I got questions about it last night on my live stream. They're like, but ski retail's broke. And I'm like, great, that's
Ugh,
fantastic news.
ugh. That question
Like
or
what
that comment.
I literally laid it out like as practically as I could. I was like, "Do you know that the top 10% own 99% of the wealth? Do you know that the top 1% owns 89% of the wealth? So you're waiting for the last 11%.
Yeah.
Like it's literally as mathematical and practical as that."
And retail, I know when things get really excited, what are they going to do? They're going to sell their stocks on Robinhood and they're going to buy some crypto with it.
Right.
They have money in other places that they'll, at the worst possible time, sell that stuff to get money, take out loans to get some money to ape in, thinking that they're going to become millionaires overnight.
Yep. And I call it getting baptized by the fire. And you can either
Yeah.
get baptized and learn your lessons. You can learn from other people who've already been baptized by the fire, like myself. 2017, still down on Dash, still down on EOS to this day.
2011 still down on silver. I,
To
I
this day.
bought the peak. I aggressively bought the peak of silver, of spot silver in 2011. I bought $50 silver in 2011. I still have it.
And if there's one thing if there's one asset that I feel confident being a back holder for
Oh yeah,
20 years is silver, but still,
yeah,
like it's still, and we're measuring that in dollars. Like how much devaluation of the dollar has happened since 2011?
yeah, exactly. So I'm down huge.
Like $50 isn't even $50.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, listen, you can get baptized by the fire, or you can learn from it. You can learn from other people, or keep making the same mistakes.
yep.
But that's pretty much it. Why crypto down when stocks are on a tear? I mean, is it down today? Like, what are we?
Yeah, it's down today. That's
Okay,
um,
all right.
again, something that I'll compare. So Bitcoin, think of Bitcoin as NASDAQ. Bitcoin already hit a new all-time high before the NASDAQ. It's front running the NASDAQ. And then think of altcoins as more like the Russell 2000, the small cap stocks, which have been underperforming.
That's such a
Uh,
good point.
yeah,
Because like we know this in the stock market, it goes to the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, and then we start to get a rotation of wealth, so to speak, where they start to rotate into the smaller caps, into the stock market, and then into the micro caps, and then that's it. Well,
yeah,
like we know this playbook with cryptocurrency, it does the same thing. Bitcoin into the blue chips, into the medium caps, into the small caps, and somewhere along the way we abandoned this, even though literally as we speak, Bitcoin just made an all-time high. Ethereum has a spot ETF. The spot ETF for XRP just got approved. There's a Solana spot ETF pending approval, and we know that the spot ETFs are much more. They're a bigger deal than the leverage. There's a Dogecoin, there's a Shiba, there's a ADA. All these spot ETFs are pending approval, as if the institutions, this idea that they're not buying altcoins. I don't buy it for a second.
yeah, yeah. There's I forget where I saw that list. There's a list of like 10 of them that like, and even including Tron, that have ETF applications, and then 8 of those 10, it's 95% chances that they're going to get approved in 2025.
Yeah, and like think about, man, this is such a good point too. The Think about what so the spot ETF got approved in 2023 for Bitcoin, and it went from 38K all the way to $112,000 just off of that. Bitcoin is already currently the fifth or sixth largest asset. So
Yeah.
the difference between ADA, which is a huge blue chip, large market cap coin, and Bitcoin is astronomical. Like ADA is 1/9 or 10th of the market cap of Bitcoin. So, that's just one example. But the point of that is it takes 1/10 of the liquidity to make it move. And I think that's like we're seeing it with BlackRock right now of the rotation from NASDAQ into the large caps. So BlackRock has slowly been not aggressively buying their Bitcoin as much, and they've been aggressively buying a lot of Ethereum. That's the first stage. That's the first step, in my opinion. And then it's going to go into all the 8 of the 10 that are 95% approval. Like, we don't need them all to
Yeah.
get the Bitcoin dominance to start to really fall. But I think it's going to have a ripple effect for sure.
Yep.
All right.
My 2 cents.
All right. I think we'll end it here. I'm gonna
Yes.
end it from here, and we'll be live next week. We should have something worked out for getting the Purdue show again by next week. We'll try to figure that out, but we're not gonna have you guys sit through a bad viewing experience one way or the other. All right. Any closing thoughts, Alex?
No.
Someone asked, I'll leave you with this. Someone asked, what are the chances we get back to December highs? On any, if you're giving me any time frame, the chances of 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, at some point it will. But my closing thoughts are: make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Alex or myself will never message you and ask you for money. Those are scammers. Somebody from Pakistan, Kakistan, Turkestan. It's not a ski stand. All right.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Total 2. I mean, the thing that I say, total 2, get to new all-time highs. Or not. Well, sure. I mean, the question was about December highs. Individual altcoins, case by case basis.
all right, guys. That is going to be it for this time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Make sure you guys follow the backup accounts as well.
Yes.
There's still the extortion that's going on TikTok. We're trying to battle through it. Either way, if we get 37 accounts banned, I will make 38 accounts. All right.
Yeah.
So they can waste money all they like. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this time. Peace, love, prosperity.